Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday on Team Talks. Each episode we dive into the favourite book, habit or tool of our special guests. They share what inspires them and how it helped them grow personally and professionally. Get ready to hear the art of making game-changing decisions with Carol Raithatha. From your perspective, all of the things you've read, what non-fiction book would you advise somebody relatively new into their career or making the next step, a pivotal change in their career? What would you recommend?
It's really not a professional book, but
Doesn't matter.
it's a really good book. It's called The Truth About Love. It's a perspective about how you have to learn self-appreciation. If you're not happy with yourself, you don't accept yourself, you're never going to flourish in your career, your relationships, your friendships, because it's not possible for other people to appreciate you when you don't appreciate yourself.
Very wise.
It's called The Truth About Love by Connor Crichton. It makes it sound like it's about romantic relationships, which part of it is, but it is mostly just it's about having somebody who's very thoughtful and gone through a lot of different life experiences. Focus to write a book about this, and not just techniques, but ways of thinking that everyone falls into.
Yeah, I think that's a very important thing, because we might talk research, we might talk career, but as part of that, you've got to develop yourself as a person, become a good leader to be able to then take the next step forward, haven't you? A lot of it is self-reflection, and it's how can we improve ourselves before we improve those people around us, before we improve the processes around us, to have that emotional intelligence.
Yeah. I know a big marker of success is being able to not regret. So accept your failures and learn from them, one or two important things, and then move on. Things like that are so important.
Thank you for that. What about a habit or a tool that you found to be really useful to keep you focused or get you to the next level or make your life better?
Using your phone in a useful way, I think is, it's so, phones are, they can help us keep in touch. They can help us do things when we need to, wherever we are. And you have access to so much information, like using your phone when you're traveling to learn about something new or something like that. But the other side of it, of course, is to overuse it or use it in a negative way. But I think just appreciating this phone, which sounds funny, but appreciating you carrying around this amazing little computer with like knowledge of the world right there.
Yeah.
But then, being aware that you need to be careful too about how you use it yourself and not get addicted or, over dependent.
And I think that's very wise, and I'm sure Steve Jobs and so forth would love you. That's what they were invented for in the first place, weren't they? Contact, self-knowledge, but self-regulation being important. I think you said it very well there.
From the other point of view, which is probably ties into this book that I just told you about, although I did hear about it on Radio 4, but I'm a meditator and I've been meditating for years and years. So meditation, I think, is a really good way of approaching life.
What about in the future? Have you got any desire for a new habit or tool that you'd like to try out that sounds exciting or could be beneficial?
I would love to try some of the tools coming out from market research and in personal life. I have used it to help with projects initially to understand the background and context. So I think that's really useful. But just the simplest AI tools that I haven't got my head around. I'm trying to think.
Well, it sounds as though you're sort of taking life by the scruff and doing new things anyway. New career pivots with your coaching and so forth. You're obviously constantly on the lookout, which is amazing. A last thing, we started with the choice of your career. You were 17. What advice would you have given to yourself in your 20s with what you know now and what you've experienced?
Have more self-confidence and understand the capabilities you've got and don't underestimate what you can do. I think I tended to not be as confident as I could be, and therefore limited myself when it wasn't really necessary.
Yeah.
And that's a long, hard kind of journey to stop doing that or to learn about that. And I think the other thing is enjoy the process. You have to have intention and a goal. That's part of life and business.
Mm-hmm.
But the process is equally important, and it's life. I mean, there is no end goal. The end goal is we're dead.
Yep, that's right.
So really, if you don't enjoy the process, life's just going to pass you by. And that's so clear to me now when I was in my 20s. It sounds obvious, but I probably never thought about that.
That makes sense. Brilliant. Thank you, Carol. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I have learned more about you. You're a great person anyway, and even more interesting now. So thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining this episode of Wisdom Wednesdays on Team Talks. Remember, small changes can define key decisions in your success. Until next time.